Hello everybody and welcome. I'm Paul and today we've got ourselves a new project. Let's go and have a look at it, shall we? And here it is, a 2004 Clio 182. So I bought this car 2 years ago. My son plays under 12s footy, and as you do, I'm chatting to the other dads there, and one of the dads says, I've got a Clio sat on my drive rotting away. You can have it for 100 quid if you want. So I thought £100, it's gonna be like a 1.4 standard Clio, you know. I'll just go there with the recovery truck, take it straight to the scrappy, make £40 straight on top. Pulled up, and this is what was there. So as Clios go, you look round it, and this is probably in the worst condition of its life. It's been sat out in the elements, gathering dust. It's got mold on the inside, full of cobwebs, and the birds have even started attacking it as well. So with this, he took it off the road back in 2014. Apparently it developed like an engine rattle. He said it sounded like a diesel. So he basically drove it home and parked it up. And that's where it sat until I went down and picked it up. So what do we got to do on this car? Let's start making a list. We got to sort out this engine rattle. We got to try and find out what it is and if we can repair it or if we need a new engine. Also, because it's been sat, the brakes are seized solid, so it's going to need discs and pads all round and probably the calipers taken off and rebuilding. Also, it needs an MOT, so we're going to go round, give it a service, give it a check over, give it a proper good clean. And then last of all, I think we should stick our 182 on the dyno. Let's see what the power figures are. I'm sure they're only about 150 horse at the wheels. And we'll see if after 18 years, if this has lost any ponies along the way. So let's get it on the ramp. Let's get cracking. Yeah, the brakes are seized. Well, hey, well, it's definitely a 2 litre 16 valve, covered in cobwebs. Oh, we got a performance air filter in there, so it should give us a bit more power as long as there's not like a rat or a squirrel crawled up inside it. No coolant in it. I think with this, to check the rattle, I mean, usually you wouldn't start a car if it's been sat for 8 years because of the cam belt or alternator belt. Anything can fly off and wreck the engine, but it's probably knackered anyway. So I think we should just give it a flick over, try and start it and just see what the rattle is. I'll go and get a battery for it, we'll whack that on and yeah, give it a go. Right, battery's on. Let's have a look and see if we've got any noise. I think that's the throttle body, hopefully it's not seized. I've checked the oil, it's got enough oil in it, I ain't bothered about the coolant. Making some weird noise. Right, let's give it a flick, see what it does. Don't sound bad. Don't really want to rev it. I'm starting to. There's a little noise at the top. Let's give it a tiny rev. That don't sound too bad. I mean, if it was like big ends, crank, anything like that, it would be a lot more rattly. That sounds all right to me. There's something up the top here. So I think next step before I start revving it harder, obviously, I think we should change the cam out, put a new water pump on it, get the coolant level the right level, and do a service. And then go from there. But I wonder why, yeah, that's weird, unless it's when it gets hot. Yeah, let's start doing that. Let's go through it and service the engine so I can actually rev the thing. And then, yeah, see how we go. Sound. Oof. Have a look at the state of that. Obviously where it's been just sat outside, it's got damp. Everything's covered in crap. I think what I'll do, along with doing the cam out and stuff, I'll just start whipping stuff off. Headlights, we need to polish them because the lens is gone cloudy. Inlet manifold will get off because I think we've got to get it off to do the plugs anyway. And I'll just start cleaning everything up as I go along. So let's get cracking. I just thought I'd pause the video and show you how tight this massive engine is in this Clio. Let's face it, it's the typical French sense of humour. They make a brilliant car and they're like, you know, probably a Friday night at the end of the week, sat around a designing table going, oh, we need to make something a bit shit, you know. So what they've done, they've given you a cam-out interval of 5 years or 72,000 miles. And they've squashed it up so tight. I suppose it's a big engine, but it's so, I can't even get my fingers down there. That's the power steering pump, I think. And I mean, the alternator at the front can just get my fingers in. It's quite funny. You get some cars, Volkswagens and stuff, it's easy. This is going to be a nightmare. So let's carry on, shall we? So we're nearly there at long last. I can see the cam out and it's in pretty bad condition, to be fair. It's starting to crack, it's starting to perish. All those years of being parked up hasn't done it any good, so yeah, glad we're changing it. I didn't realise on these, it's got like a variable valve, I think they call it a dephaser pulley on these. So the inlet cam has got an oil-fed controllable pulley basically, so off oil pressure it can advance or retard the cam. I think on these, instead of like the variable valve, like, you know, VTEC and all that kind of stuff, it's more of a emissions based addition rather than lots of performance. But I did a Volvo years ago that had the same kind of pulley and it rattled the same as what this did. I'm sure on the Volvo there was a controller and then there was a little gauze filter for the oil that had blocked up as well that needed changing. So while I'm here, I'm definitely going to order that. And also I found down here on the alternator bout side, there's a little pulley, and when you spin it, it's knackered. So I'm definitely going to order one of those and that dephaser pulley. So cut to another hour later of struggling with our tight space. I've got all our stuff off, which is good. Got the dephaser pulley in the vise, just with a bolt stuck through it for now. And you can see that this thing, even just with my hands, you can wobble it. So that's definitely knackered. We know our cam bout is pretty bad. It's all perished and there's cracks in it. And I've got that pulley off. Definitely knackered too. So I've got a genuine Renault kit. It comes with all the tensioners, which is good because that's knackered. So we're gonna fit new water pump, cam bout, tensioner, all the rollers. I've also, with this Clio, I found my favorite shaped gasket ever, which I'll leave it to your imagination what that looks like. Well, the alternator bout, and well, it does the aircon as well. It doesn't look that bad, but we're still gonna change it anyway because it's a complete, to do. Well, all that's off. I've also taken the wheels off. Having a black car with black wheels, it just looks a bit boring. So I'm gonna send them off to the powder coaters to get them a different color, which I'll show you at the end. And looking around it, the exhaust as well. We need to order in some new exhaust mounts because they have definitely seen better days. And also got all the brakes apart after I got the wheels off. You can see why the front brakes were seized. The pad material's actually come away from its metal backing. So I'm going to get all this back together. New brakes, new exhaust hangers, cam bout, alternator bout, everything. And we'll go for a start. Fingers crossed. It's not going to be rattly still. Right, I'll get back to it. And then if by magic, we're all back together. So everything's on. While I was there, did an oil and filter change, plugs, pollen filter, blew out the air filter. The coolant level is full. Also, run the mop over the headlights. Didn't do too bad of a job, if I say so myself. They look near enough like brand new. Got a sponge and just sponged off the bumper for now until we can get it outside. So let's go for the startup and see if this rattler's gone. Fingers crossed. That sounds all right to me. Ideal. That sounds mint. Right, time to get the brakes on, get that exhaust hung properly and get it outside for a wash. And then I'll show you what it looks like. Let's go. So our journey began at the start of the week with a dirty, broken, covered in bird poo Clio 182. It's now Friday. And just look at the difference. Even giving it a clean makes it look better, to be honest. There's still some bits I've got to do on it. The washers don't work. I tried blowing through the lines, but I think the pumps are just seized. And also where the bird poo's been sat on it for 8 years, it's ate into the lacquer, so it needs a good flat and a polish. I think going for the gold wheels made a massive difference. And also I color coded that little bit on the side moulding just so it brings in the gold a bit better. But nearly finished. We've got an MOT here and then put it on the rolling road. So leave us a comment if you want to see it on the rolling road and a bit of a road test. And as always, give us a like. So you'll notice on this video there's a few special people missing. Unfortunately, in the current climate and the world we live in, where my electric bill has quadrupled and I now pay more for electric than I do for rent, which is absolutely crazy. we're just down to me here working on my own, unfortunately. So I'm doing these videos at night after work. Yeah, I've got to work for a living again now, because YouTube brings in about between 12 and 20 pounds per video, which is obviously not good. The raffle site that we did, that was the last kind of chance at trying to make some money, but it didn't work, unfortunately. So we're back to me, and we're going to do a lot more of these videos. So please don't unsubscribe, and as always, I'll see you on the next one. Ta-da, bye.